morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Damage Control. This is Mookie, joined here with Darth Beaver, and we're just going to go ahead and start recapping our adventures of Marvel Strike Force here and what we've been running into this past week and what's coming up this coming week. So hopefully you guys enjoy the show here. There's a couple of topics that we definitely want to dive into. Stay tuned for that. So anyways, let me introduce Darth. What's up, Darth? How you doing?
Very well, thanks, Mookie.
Right, man. All right. Well, what I want to go ahead and do, Darth, is I'm gonna jump right into it here and to make sure I have this all up and ready. But let's talk about your past week. And as you see the picture up there, you can tell me this is not my Morgan Le Fay, but this is your Morgan Le Fay. And are you happy with the decision you made on getting that 7th red?
Yes. I was worried that I wasn't going to be happy with it, but I believe it's, if nothing else, it's held me in top 10 in my arena since I got it.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. I mean, this is the person that you're going to be running into in arena, and all I can say is that it's the bigger, the mightier, the harder it is to land any type of debuffs on her because she's one of the more high resistance characters. So I know last time when we were talking, the reason why I'm starting on this one, because last week we were kind of diving into the arena, right? Discussion a little bit. And I don't know if you focused that hard onto it. I mean, what's been your style on the arena? I mean, have you been going through all your 5 matches trying to stay above a certain ranking?
Yeah, I float between 7 and 3 usually. I fight the guy who's at 3 when I'm at 7, and then when I log back on, I'm at 7, and I fight the guy that's at 3. And that seems to be the case of it. If I catch it at just the right time, I can end at 3rd. I guess if I tried harder, I could probably try for 1st, but it's hard to make sure that I'm on and getting an attack in that last 10 minutes or that last 5 minutes or whatever it is. And then you have to prep yourself leading up to it to make sure you're in position to get one when that comes around. You probably have to buy an extra attack, and I'm not that invested into it. I am invested in getting all 5 of my attacks every day.
Cool.
So like I've ended at 11 or 13 before, and then forgotten, and then had 2 more arena attacks and done them at night before I ended my day, and then started the day down at 3 again. So it's just fine. I like where I'm at right now because I guess only a small percentage of people know, but when you ride the top 10, I think you know this, you fluctuate so much less the closer you are to 1. So you're likely, if you're in the 50s, the 50 to 100 range, you could fall 100 spots if you don't get your day in.
Yeah.
If you don't pay attention is where if I don't attack till the end of the day, sometimes I'm in the same spot I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's exactly what my feeling is here. So the last 2 days, I haven't been that aggressive. I have not completed all 5 attacks, so I've been slipping down into the mid-teens, right there in the 17s where I'm waking up today with. But I got up to the 4th ranking this week, and just like you said, like I hadn't paid attention, and I dropped down to 8, without throwing any attacks in, missing that reset period. But no, it's cool. I mean, I guess my main question out of envy is that when you go in there off of your 7 red, are things landing or sticking more, like the ability blocks when you go against another Morgan Le Fay, and like, do you feel more control?
I still have mine as skirmisher. I have not moved her to striker, and I don't know that I'm going to, because my Morgan Le Fay now is landing all of her debuffs. I am landing the ability block against a 7 Morgan Le Fay with far more frequency than I was before. I wouldn't say it's 100% rate because the resistance is so high, but the percentage that I'm successful is much higher at that point. And the same with Agatha. I'm finding that if I don't land the slow and the disrupt on Agatha to start the match, with Morgan, like, you focus on her, like the ability block is a secondary thing that happens to all controllers. So, but the slow and the disrupt on Agatha is very important, and I'm running into some 7 red Agathas and things like that, and that's where my problem, I think, was even more, is that the Agatha was resisting as much as the Morgan was.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your experiences, man. It's definitely something that you should be excited about. I know you are, and so I'm proud. I'm happy for you for having that. Kind of leads into a little bit, I know, just foreshadowing a little bit, but on the blog post, there is, not spoiler alert, right, for those that don't pay attention, but Morgan Le Fay, her event is coming back. So those that are trying to get into the 7-star category, as Darth already hit on, you definitely have another opportunity there as her event is going to be rolling out, and we'll get more details as we talk about the blog post. But segueing over to something else that happened this week, and this actually happened on Friday. Well, I guess before we talk about the good news, I don't know if we can talk about if you want to call it bad news, but it was this event
It's
over.
news.
It's news, yeah, but it was the Hulkbuster event. So this was a 7-day period. This has been the hot topic, especially early part in the week, right? As far as content creators goes, if you catch any and all, they all kind of talked about this being one of the worst milestone events or character release milestone events. I'll be it's that kind of redundant question, but just out of curiosity, in case those want to know your opinion, how do you feel about the event? Is it the worst or?
I don't know if it's the worst. It wasn't. It didn't feel super good. It seemed to be the biggest RNG event for character shards that I've ever seen. I'll tell you what feels bad is that I'm gonna miss those 30 Hulkbuster shards at the end, and I have blitzed my ass off. Like that. That's what feels bad. I have put in all of my rotations, and I'm not going to get to milestone 34. And that is the RNG aspect of it all, where over my 1 week period, I only got 2,000 fragment drops that I saw, and I got a lot of 50s and a few hundreds and a few other things. But it's like it's because of the randomness of how many shards you can get. You can either get 1/40th of an orb or an entire orb. So the luckier you are after every single blitz battle, like really pushed this milestone. And so that's a cool thing. But I think with the amount that I blitzed, I shouldn't be that far behind.
See, that's a
On
question I have on the Blitz real quick. You went into the details about the fragment drops. There was like RNG on RNG, within this
yeah, and
event.
yeah,
And did you feel the need to like really focus on those matchups, like win at you at our level, we're
yes,
gonna get to the 8.3. So were you very like were you within each of your rotation, were you looking at each matchup to make sure you got the best battle in to sim?
single one. Now there were blind rotations that were thrown in there. Like I'm not. In order for me to complete all 8 of my rotations, I have to do a rotation right before I go to bed and a rotation right when I wake up, like immediately. Like it has to end and start my day so that I only have to do it 6 other times in between there. And you have a full-time job and you have kids and shit like that. It's not lending you to be able to log in every 2 hours and get your stuff done. But I did it. And I forget what your question was, man. I totally
No,
got
no,
off
no,
track
no.
thinking about all that stuff. Like
Well,
the,
no. So
the
like, here's the thing, because you and I were talking off air, and then really what I'm trying to dig into is our two different styles that we played with on this blitz. You mentioned that you said I'm 3,000 points ahead of you, or roughly, or 2 to 3. If you look at, I'm at 135,000 on milestone 33. What points are you at?
I am at 132.
Okay, so it's about 3 times. So because here's my question. I guess I'll tell you my play style off of it. I don't feel like I completed all 8 rotations. I know for a fact I didn't because I never got that timer up at any point. I probably were getting about at the minimum 6 rotations in per day, and I might have been hitting 8, but I wasn't really paying attention to it because I never. Basically, what I'm saying, I never got to the timer point where I was like, "Ooh, I hit my daily limit." Like I never saw that happen to me. But what I was doing on each of these blitzing is I was freaking watching. I wasn't going blindedly. On occasion, I did go blindedly. I can't lie. There were some that I knew I had to get my rotation in, right? And I'm just, because it's how this event, like, I don't want to say it was the worst event either, per se, but it was just like one of those that if you aren't paying attention to your rotation, aren't paying attention to like earning those fragments, easily will fall behind, and there's no way to achieve like to the point like you're making. It's like, hey, you went pretty mindful about it as far as getting rotations in, and you're still short, right? But for those that were not, and again, I was mindful about it too, but maybe a little bit to more extra degree as far as on the matchups per rotation. I just knew I couldn't like lose battles. Each one of those loss, you're losing out on the high value
Fragments
50
of the
fragments. 50
Mm-hmm.
fragments. um
And sometimes more. No. And so yeah, now I remember the initial point of your question, which was so for 2 rotations I normally didn't give a damn. I would just run through them as quickly as I could.
yeah.
And then the rest of them is there's still that time crunch. So I didn't necessarily like go through and look at the 3 teams and then move to a different team if I didn't like any of those 3 matchups. I would pick one of those 3 matchups and just go.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it like I used to for a character rotation, but I still won I was winning between 30 and 40 of my battles per rotation. I was doing fairly well. Like I got very high scores as far as the blitz itself is concerned.
Yeah. All right. Well, and this is twofold because you were having me kind of look into this other part of this 7-day milestone. And this was that armored architect one where you spin the cores. And this was just all part like earning some more fragments, right? For the Hulkbuster here. And I just went through my usual daily core spinner, and I'm about 200 short from hitting the milestone 17. Now, I didn't go heavy on Viv to do the hundreds. I'm sure that those that had more cores and timing could have been sweet for those that, especially if you got like a 6 red pull, right? You're going to be more aggressive on Viv. That maybe I could see people hitting up this 18 milestone, but trying to get like this last one at 10,000. Like, I don't know about all that. But I think you and I also said before, you're around this milestone 17 period as well. Are you itching to try to push harder, or you cool where you're at?
I'm 1,000 cores behind a mile 17, and I haven't spent any cores today.
Okay.
And so I'm at that point where after I'll see where after, like I said, I'm like kind of like you. I'll spend my cores for the day on my energy refreshes and things like that, and most likely I will get to milestone 17.
Okay.
I'll buy an abomination orb or something like that for cores to push me over the edge. If I was looking to get to the other one and spend all the remainder of my cores, then that's probably how I would do it. I'd probably buy 2 abomination orbs and spend the rest on energy refreshes.
All right. I'm jumping over to the orbs real quick because we're talking about the Hulkbuster, and so here's kind of the whole grindiness and the kind of the sad feeling, right? Because I noticed as you get further down the milestones, or even like on the blitzing side of things, it feels like one good, if you're lucky, full rotation, you earn yourself like an orb to pull, and
A half.
or half, yeah, or I mean, it depends RNG, right?
Like I said,
But
I feel like I average probably 1.5 orbs per rotation. Like
okay.
it's not the worst.
Sometimes I wasn't hitting it, so it's weird. I mean, I didn't even get earn an orb, but yeah, all that work that you're just kind of alluding to. I mean, then it comes up, and then you're hit with these two pieces, right? But at the end of the day, to kind of wrap it up, I mean, you and I kind of hit our. I would, I'm putting words in your mouth, but I assume that you're on the same target, like as far as trying to get to the 5th, and that's where I was able to
Got
land.
5 stars. That's the goal on every new character that comes out. You know,
Yeah,
for a guy that purchases a pack, that should be what it is
yeah,
at the end of the event. So they did okay on this one. Like I said, the end result was better than it felt doing the event itself, which was weird.
yeah. When you go up on here and you go into the milestones, this is, I think on this one was a daily one within the Hulk Buster event. So every day, and when you're spinning, this is where I was getting confused. So when you spin up on the energy side of things, and you can go ahead and start collecting these, and these were, I mean, how did you feel? I mean, to me, I kind of felt that this was kind of a big deal only because of the fragments side. And that's what happened. So the first time I went into it and seeing how hard it was to try to get an actual orb to pull, I got into this weird FOMO feeling that I was like, damn it, I need to get milestone 18. For whatever reason, I just had this weird like feeling. I remember I was going to soccer practice to get my kids in. I was like, shit, I only have like a couple hours left before reset. And I even calculated, I was like, damn, I got to get to 3,000. And I ended up, coring a little bit and also opening up some extra energy from my little daily end game bag. And I got myself to that 3,000 mark. And I was like, okay, so I did it. And I had to do this away from practice. But again, on my phone, because I have an iOS, Apple, I can't log in to claim it. So I come back, I'm stuck with my wife, sharing, peeling the curtain. So she was out in Colorado for work. So I was stuck with all the kids, cooking and doing all this stuff. And I never logged back into my PC to get to this, to claim it, to claim my previous day of reward. So when I log in the morning to go in and get it, this part was gone. The whole review part wasn't on here on Tuesday, I think it was, or Wednesday. So I felt so freaking dirty. I ain't gonna lie, Darth. Like I felt sick a little bit, and I don't know why. Like I didn't mean like for the game to get that type of feeling on the game, but it was just more like the effort, the time, and knowing that I went out of my comfort zone to try to get that last milestone and it wasn't there to claim, I was pissed, and I just kind of, and I'm not one to kind of get over it. Like I usually kind of keep everything calm and cool. But, I had to kind of reach in, and I hate being that guy that runs out to customer service to kind of explain or, hey, I didn't get this, but I went ahead and did it and took the time and doing all of that crap. And they did reward it to me. They saw that it fell off. They mentioned it was an error. So some people were running into this because they even jumped onto Reddit and I saw someone put a post on that and I commented on their thing talking about it. Like, hey, yeah, I got the same experience. Then later, when customer service replied back, they gave me what I was missing out on, which again were the last three. I think it was like the last three milestones or two. Then I felt good about it, but still to kind of go into that whole routine and feeling and having to complain about it, it sucked. And then the next day, they did tell me that it was fixed. As you see it here, it is fixed, but it kind of had another hiccup where it wasn't there for me for a second time around, which I didn't complain about the second time because I didn't go for the milestone 20, but it was just something I wanted to share. I mean, that was just something that was kind of an icky feeling a little bit. And I bring that up because, as we get into blog posts, that is going to be the recurring thing as far as on these milestone events are going to have web milestone events and conjunctions together. So you got to be mindful about it. You got to kind of pay attention to see if apparently this is not an oversight. Like I thought it was an oversight on my part that I didn't read the blog post correctly and I didn't catch the milestones in time to claim, and that was my loss, and that was it. But apparently it was an error on Scopely and just something to kind of remember moving forward.
But while we're doing that, the Techno Future milestone, I think that you and I both completed that one. That would normally, if we hadn't completed that one, that would be a big topic today.
Man, yeah, that's a good
That one
point.
right there, the month long event. Like I finished it 2 or 3 days ago. Like I had and this was weird for me because last month I fell short, but this month I didn't buy any of the circuits or whatever again. Yet I completed it early enough that there was a 1-core offer that I bought that the circuits didn't count for anything for me because I'd already completed all 40 of those milestones. So it was really weird this time. And I don't understand. Like normally everybody's even, and I couldn't believe that I pumped ahead of everybody somehow when I know that I hadn't purchased any of those.
Yeah, because there was an event in the middle of last week or so that I know I didn't push that hard for, that you can still get those fragments. And I think that's where the pushing point was for you, that you scored on. Like just so many different, there's like 9 milestones, right? Or 6 milestones every month for these monthly stuff.
Tons.
Yeah, so there was something in there in the middle within those other milestone events. I think that's where you gain a push ahead of us. But yeah, even on that part of it, and I knew that's where I was slipping when I saw that you got yours earlier. But that 1-core, man, those daily 1-core offers really saved me because I thought I was gonna be short. Like when I got the last piece for him, which is like that matrix thing. I was short about 500 and then or under 500, it was like 480 something, and then of course that 1-core offer comes up and bam, I was able to push it. So I was surprised. I thought I wasn't gonna get it, but yeah, I guess this is one that free to play, not missing out on any of those milestone events and pushing. I mean, I don't think you. I don't
That's
mean
how
to
it should
say
work
like,
out.
yeah, it should, right? Like, I mean, it wasn't like I guess you didn't feel like you had to overspend on each milestone, right? To hit it. I mean, I don't. I think there were some milestones on here within the 6 to 9 or whatever that you and I previously shows. Like, we didn't complete all of them, but you still got the monthly goal. So
Right. The biggest deal was to get the circuits or the pieces that gave you all of the points, though the whatever they're called. Each character has individual pieces, and this guy had 4 pieces this month. And if you get them all, you should be in good shape to get where we got, and that's what makes it feel right. So
yeah, okay. Well, no, good. I mean, I'm glad. Yeah, we definitely have to talk about that. So kudos. I mean, on that event side, it didn't feel, and I haven't heard any complaints. But like the Hulkbuster one is the one that came out stumbling on the blocks. Luckily, they gave us the first time. Because did you go through your whole first rotation that day that it came out, or did you stop? As far as when you
no,
noticed that you weren't getting the frags.
I cheated. Like I hit the button and I waited and watched and was like, why aren't I getting any fragments? And I did like literally 4 or 5 battles, and then I went to Mobile Gamer's stream because it's funny. That's the place for live news after server reset.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to know what the fuck is happening right now in Marvel Strike Force, at server reset, you got to go check out mobile stream because he's talking about what's going on right now, and he's an envoy. He's in there with the developers like archangels in his chat quite frequently. So that was where I found out what was going on. That there was a mistake. So I just kind of held off. Now I probably only did 6 rotations that day, but then they compensated you some orbs and stuff for it later. So it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the best either.
Yeah, I think from those, and I mean it's somewhere here with the mailbox, but they did give us some compensation, and they said it was pretty good. I didn't hear any complaints on it, but yeah, that kind of helped a little bit as far as getting some more orbs to open. All right, but let's talk about the good. This is one of the events that you've been waiting. I feel like it's been about at least 2 months. I mean, or has it been longer that you've been waiting for this pocket dimension?
I think it's been at least, well, then I've been waiting for it for a month or two. Yeah, can't remember the last time they ran one 2 or 3 months ago. It just feels like it should have come, not so much Pocket Dimension. Pocket Dimension almost feels right. Maybe they're only a month late with Pocket Dimension. So just to bring up Pocket Dimension's his brother is Tower Mode, and Tower Mode has been missing for as long as Pocket Dimension. But this was great. We all like to complain when it's not here, but we complain because it's not here because it is the most rewarding game mode we have. That's you can spend 30, 20 or 30 minutes doing a Dark Dimension run, a fairly easy Dark Dimension run, and get months worth of rewards.
Yeah, this kind of came up, and I know this was kind of be hinting on the rumor side of things of coming through and teasers of it showing up, within the timer of it, coming soon, and then they pull it off. More so than on the tower side, I haven't heard any type of leaks as far as tower mode coming time, like data mine or anything like that. So unfortunately, we're still waiting on that one. That
I
one,
started building teams for Tower Mode, man.
know how much you
I
love
did
it, which is
I
funny is
did
that
so good on the last one.
I don't like tower mode, man. I'll tell you. But that's what's funny about us. On that's one true opposite I can tell. Because I just feel like it's just like a more detailed, a more grindy like Blitz as far as kind of it's like Blitz and Crucible all together. And maybe that's why you like it. I don't know. But it's something that it's cool as far as like I get the concept as far as building your way up into it. It's just I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But I miss the reward side of it. I don't miss the gameplay of Tower Mode. But
What? You missed the gameplay of Pocket Dimension? Did you miss the being able to auto Pocket Dimension, or do you miss the rewards?
I missed the
You
rewards
don't
there
miss.
too. I missed the rewards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't. You
I
don't.
just
Pocket Dimension gameplay sucks
yeah, no, it
for
does.
in-game players. Let's talk about it. Like Tower Mode was awesome for in-game players. There's a lot of fun content in that. Pocket
Yeah,
Dimension is a mid-game player thing that they allow in-game players to do and get in-game rewards for. I
yeah,
mean, look at the characters we got this time. There was no real synergy, like two at a time. And I know you did the same thing as I did. You walked through it,
yeah.
no problem. You didn't lose a character. You weren't scared of losing a character one time.
Yeah, you're right. This just Pocket Dimension. It's just like an elaborate milestone event, like character event where you're going through the campaign. And
Right. It.
yeah, it was pretty simple. But you're right. I mean, I see what you're getting at because
I can't have nobody talk bad about my tower mode.
you know what? Yeah, no, you could defend it, of course. And you're right. I mean, I think for me, because there's a true competitiveness within the tower mode of trying to climb your way and making sure, like, I mean, because you're facing some beefy ass teams, man, and some composites there where you're like, what? Imagine if they throw in two Morgan Le Fays at us, like they were kind of doing with some of the Infinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, like two Nebulas or like
Don't give them ideas to make it suck.
but it's one of those that I think in the end, part really to kind of jump on your side, that type of grindiness as far as like the matchups that you're going into really kind of like it's like it feels like it's like Spartan training. So then that way when you go into the crucible side of things, then you're ready for it even more so because you just
You know what? That is one of the positives about it. Tower mode gets you to play with those new teams in a meaningful way and gets you prepared to use them in Crucible and in War and in other places that you'll use them.
yeah.
That was the thing about Auto Blitz. I used to blitz super hard years ago before Auto Blitz came out, and I would do manual rotations, and I got to play with every single team on my roster every day.
Yeah.
And now I only play with I don't manual anything like that anymore. So that's what I liked about Tower Mode, was that it was manual play with some of your big teams. So you really got to see what your Weapon X could do against some of these super crazy teams. So
Yep. Well, I mean, they kind of wrapped up. So for me, all in all, I think no matter what your preferencing is on gameplay style, you are earning some juicy rewards here in the Pocket Dimension. So, but let's jump into the blog post here. All right. It's funny because every Friday now, right? This has kind of been a big thing as far as looking at these, blog posts, kind of foreshadowing what we got to plan on and get ready for this coming week. But now it's almost becoming like a second blog post on a Saturday where they talk about, the store. It seems that's gonna be a new thing where you jump in and get your freebie on Saturday or Friday evening, I guess. Saturday it's like a 24-hour thing where you claim. I wonder if Dell went off and purchased it this second go around or not. But we'll talk about that in a
same
moment.
bullshit as last time.
Same bullshit as last time. But anyways, let's talk about Friday. So Friday, Red Hulk gets introduced here officially to go over his kit, which I'm not going to get into it in just a large summary. He's just going to be a beast, and the Gamma is going to be a beast of a team in war. There was something here, and I'll let you kind of highlight if there's something that I don't know if, because I kind of looked through a little bit, but I know there was like I think there was some type of new type of ability that was going on here when it gets charged up a certain way, but I'll let you kind of talk. What's
Battlefield
your
effect.
Battlefield? Yeah. So what's your excitement level here on the Red Hulk and what you feel about his kit?
I'm super excited. He's going to be a horseman character, man. It's going to be great. His team's going to be great. I still love war. They're revamping the war rewards, and they're revamping how war works a little bit. So it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about the team. I'm excited about the event. I mean, I love my Darkhold team. I love my Unlimited team. I can't see that there's going to be where I don't love my Gamma team. So my excitement's it's pretty through the roof. I mean, that's why I'm investing in Abomination and She-Hulk. That's why I brought She-Hulk up from level 1. They've made older characters more useful. He is coming with that new battlefield effect, which is going to be cool. I don't want to talk on it because I'm going to say wrong stuff about what I think and what's actually going to happen, because I know that it's not going to be exactly what we think as we do it, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun and a new effect, and it looks like a lot of new characters are going to get a battlefield effect, because in the text it says, right there, this battle fix lasts until cleared until the end of the match, or until cleared or until the end of the match, which means that you're going to be able to clear the battlefield effect by putting a battlefield effect on your team, because there's another place in his kit where it says, if there's a battle effect on the enemy team, remove it, and then you put this battlefield effect on them. So it looks like down the future there's going to be more characters with more battlefield effects that either affect your team or the opposing team, tied into their ultimates or whatever. So it's a whole new world of things that they're opening up here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and it kind of ties into like some updates they're doing on the war too. So interesting. It's an interesting kit there, but that is like kind of the highlight there that the Dart just hit on to be ready for and mindful of. Now, to tie into, so that's the first big news within the blog post. The second part of it is that we go into the Hulk Hunter event, which is really the Abomination event. So he is the new monthly character, as it was kind of being rumored. It seems as if they shortened the milestone events here to 4. Because I felt like in the past we had like 6 to 9 or something like that. But so there's 4 of those events going through for him, and then there's just the quick rumble milestones and 2 alliance ones. They didn't talk on the alliance side of things. They didn't get into like, and here's the 2 alliance ones, where they talk about, I forgot which of the victory blueprint. It's not on here, so that's one thing that got removed. But otherwise,
That was the one that was your mailbox meta.
boarding one, right? Yeah, that you have to get a leg on for the level T24 or something, the 4 ions.
The bad thing about that is where those level 4 ions now. Sucks.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was wondering. Well, you know what? And that's what we're kind of reviewing pre-show. But to kind of highlight the whole thing of things of note here is this little event. We'll kind of wrap it up with then looking at the calendar. So again, this is coming from the Brotherhood of the Storm and CPL Hicks and Updog. But they have it all highlight here. I was talking about is this Hulk Hunter. It's coming out on Wednesday. The month-long event starts. The first milestone off of that is going to be the Stark R&D and the joint venture one, which is the milestone one. Okay, right here. Yeah, so the Stark one is going to be another Blitz one, Darth. And I know I thought I was going to take a break from it, but apparently not. And this is actually going to be a 1-day milestone event that takes place 6 times. So gonna have to be blitzing now. How hardcore depends. I think where it saves you and I, Darth, you too, Dale, is gonna be that the Bionic Avengers are the ones that are gonna give you the boosted points. I can highlight it right here, but it's this section here where you start seeing the scoring side of things on the win. So I think we'll be okay. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be as grindy as it felt from the Hulkbuster side, but be mindful it is a 1-day one, so you're gonna have to make sure that you complete the milestone each day. Now, what's tied in onto it is going to be on the website. Now, this one is a 6-day milestone. I was worried that it was a 1-day event milestone, but instead it is going to be a cumulative, where it's 6 days. You and your Lions mates on those Lions donations where you earn the credits is where you gain the points on. And part of it is just, it's a team effort. Individually, whatever you donate to 10K or the core can boost you up a little bit if you feel like, you need to get an extra boost. But this is a 6-day period in which that's, kind of where I'm getting at, is that's where I notice that the level 4 ions is coming from. So it's kind of like they got rid of the victory blueprint, but the caveat is you have to go to the web store. So I don't know how those are, for someone like Willie and some of those that don't have their game tied onto the web store, they're going to miss out. And I think that's a big deal because when you're talking about pushing for Apocalypse, and there's that level 4 ions going to be on the web. So be mindful of that. Be mindful. I guess since this is not a day-to-day thing, we should not run into the concern that I started off the show with my personal experience with the Hulkbuster one that was tied on the web's event. So, but anyways, there's that. And then there's this leaderboard here too. I don't know if this caught you off. Did you see that there's a leaderboard tied onto the event?
It'll depend on how if it's for both of them, if it's for just the top one, which
Well,
is your
yeah,
donation again, because that feels very similar to a donation leaderboard that really fucked everybody before because there's an exploit. I don't know if the exploit's still there or not because I don't do that shit. But if there is an exploit, you better believe that people are going to exploit the shit out of it.
yeah. So I don't know where the leaderboard is tied. I think the leaderboard might be. It may be tying on to this joint venture milestone? Is
To
that
the
what's saying?
joint venture, that's cool because that would be better because then that's your blitzes plus the amount of gold you spend, and I like to spend gold anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. But there's that going on, and I think I'm just gonna go about my usual play. I'm not gonna push to get ahead on this blind leaderboard. They even acknowledge that it is. But those are the rewards you get into it.
I was mistaken. The leaderboard's going to be for the one that's in game, not the webstone. It looks like I would assume it is, which is the one where it's blitz and spending gold.
Yeah, it is Blitz. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It talks about it
So
right
it
here. It's
shouldn't.
points.
As long as the leaderboard isn't for that joint venture, then we'll be cool. And I don't think it is because that's a web milestone.
Correct. Yeah,
I
no,
don't see it. I don't see there being a leaderboard for a web milestone.
correct. Yeah, no, it is for the end game. Okay, but here's the round 3 for Pestilence Scourge event here. So those that are still trying to get theirs up, they're Morgan Le Fay up to the next star level. Here's your other opportunity. So for me, I kind of felt, I paused on this one because I was like, you know what I did when I came short the second go around? I
Did you purchase orbs?
I did.
I was just asking.
Yeah, I purchased it. So when I saw this come out, I was like, well, damn, man. So
That wasn't supposed to come out for a few more months.
yeah, I thought it was over. I thought it was it. That was it. I was like, oh man. So I got that whole fear, like, I'm gonna have to go ahead and purchase them because I'm not gonna see her again. And here she comes, and I'm like, oh shit. So that's the first thing that came into my mind when I saw the news that she's coming back. I'm like, damn, I didn't have to purchase that shit. Well,
You know what comes into my mind now when I see this
what's that?
is at 7-star. I think you still get the leaderboard that comes up, and that was like 10 or 12 ability material orbs. So I'm excited to get that just for running through the milestone portion of the Pestilence event.
Yeah, so I will be on a different leaderboard too.
And we will be on a different leaderboard this time because you've got her at 7. So it'll be cool. It'll be different. It'll be a first time experience sort of for us again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, but then we already talked about this. This is the pocket dimensions that came through, and they talk about the updates to the start times. I don't have any personal takeoff here. I mean, is there anything you want to talk about on those start times?
Smart. If they're a West Coast team and all their problems happen at the start of their events at 5 o'clock after they're trying to go home on a Friday night, that's not conducive to getting anything fixed for 3 days. So even if you still launched it on a Friday, as long as you launch it at 2, that gives everybody that plays in his hardcore 3 hours. It lets Mobile Gamer and his crew get in there and find out what's going on and if it's working. And if it's not working, at least they're still at work.
Yeah,
To launch an event as you walk out of the door on a Friday evening is silly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think that this is at least a step in the right direction and it's smart.
Yeah, they're not ignoring their gameplay and just waiting to hear and catch
It's
up and catch up. I feel like that's a lot of the drag over time is that this thing is just trying to, fix bugs and fix hiccups on milestones that they can't get to the true gameplay style that they probably would want to. So it's definitely a step in the right direction there. Um, as I talk about this and we talk about like kind of what Scopely's style is, I was curious because I caught this here and this is kind of our time to just kind of share stuff. Did you catch because you mentioned Dogbert and I did and what how he came on my radar is I actually did watch Boylan's video where he was doing his usual event and it was all about Hulkbuster, how they stumbled off the blocks. And I think there was something else that kind of stumbled. But did you happen to catch that one of Boylan where he showed Dogbert's kind of
I
proclamation
did see
as
that. Yeah.
how do you feel about the content creators getting away from the envoy? Do you think that would be a good idea to kind of raise or I was
I
curious.
don't I don't think that the content creators give a damn what Dogbird Gaming says.
Yeah.
Or Boylan for that matter, like and those are bigger but the big guys, the guys that make their money off of YouTube and Twitch are gonna stay in that content, are gonna stay in that Envoy program.
Yeah.
That there's no that's going to literally probably cost them money at some point. So there's no way they're not going to do that.
I was kind of
Um,
curious about how that was going to take off. In my opinion, when I see Boylan starting that topic and highlighting Dogbert's, suggestion, and this is just me, my opinion. I don't know why. I feel like it's kind of a bitter saltiness towards Boylan because he was part of the Envoy and had to get out of it because of what he had done. And it's like, I don't know. I think ever since that direction, he kind of changed tunes a little bit, personality wise. Not saying that,
100%.
yeah, and not saying that the idea isn't like bad overall. I think it's just trying to like what Dogbert's trying to get at for someone that has no affiliation to Envoys, right? At least that I know of. Um, I think it's an interesting idea. It was something I was kind of gravitated towards, like wondering, like I wanted to hear the other content creators' opinions if they agree, disagree, like, but I didn't hear anything, and then I didn't catch them live on Twitch. I mean, I'm not digging down that deep, I'm not a reporter here, but it was interesting. I mean, I thought that was kind of cool. I wonder if it would shake things up a little bit, as far as like, hey, because the sentiment that I have heard when I first started playing, and damn, it's been so long I already forgot Combs. There was a guy by the name of Combs that used to do some updates there with like Valley and mobile, and he's not no longer doing any content creating. But since that day, he talked about the sentiment where they don't listen to the envoys, about their opinions, and they felt like they didn't have a voice and things of that nature. So, because of that sentiment side of things, I kind of thought like, huh, maybe they would do something like that or not. But I think, like you said, I mean, I know they got a channel and that's their daily grind as far as streaming and stuff like that. And if it impacts them, they all have personal decisions to make if they want to do it or not. But
I think it really
was.
depends on what you think the Envoy program actually is versus what it is.
Hmm.
I think that some of our favorite content creators join the Envoy program thinking that they're becoming community managers.
Hmm.
They are not. They literally are in the Envoy program. What the Envoy program is a small discourse where they feed you information ahead of time. Where because you're a content creator, you have some access to the developers and things like that. They're not obligated to answer you. You're not the community manager. It's not your job to make great change. You get to talk with the community manager a little bit more one-on-one, but you can't expect to get into the Envoy program and change the world because that's not how it works. That's not what the Envoy program is for. Now, let's talk about Archangel being a community manager and actually becoming what some of these envoys think they are. I believe that he's made the game a better place since he's been there. It may not be true. It may be a false equivalency because I've been having more fun and I thought things have been a little more thought out and done a little better since he's been our community manager. And it feels like the community's feedback certainly gets answered much faster because of him and his position and how he takes his position versus how Cerebro did. And I think some of my favorite content creators get in there and they think that it's something else. And they think they're the new community manager when you're not. You're part of a little club that gets information ahead of time and you can use that to make money. Which is cool. Because here, like they don't do it as much anymore, but here you guys can have the early release information for this. You can make your videos and then you can all put them out at the time that our NDA is done. And you can all drop them at the same time and fight for more views and see who can make the most YouTube money from this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to be in that club, then don't. But don't. I just think that too many people go in thinking it's something it's not.
Well put, man. Yeah, no, you explained it perfectly, and that all makes sense. So that's just something that they gotta kind of refresh, and without saying it too direct, but it's like staying your lane, I guess, you know. But no, that makes
That is it.
100%. Yeah. All right. Well, let's yeah, well, so on this side of things, it's an interesting conversation. I'm glad you brought that up because it's something I've been kind of seeing, because you and I, we do, obviously we watch content creators, and there's kind of like little
We're not.
side drama building up, and I've been seeing like Duratic try to go at your boy fucking, how can my dorky
Dorky?
dad, yeah, man.
My boy is dorky, Dad. I don't, so
Yeah.
that's more. So I'm glad I extra don't watch him now, because
Big-
because he's gonna go a dorky. All that's gonna do is piss me off.
yeah, man, that was interesting. So there's little side dramas there if anyone's interested. I mean, it's not overblown yet, but it was just kind of a buildup of YouTube comment drama. Um, all right, so let's see. So yeah, I guess so about the whole thing, then the war updates comes through, and we just kind of talk about Red Hulk coming through and his team, and so let's jump into Saturdays, because your style, you're one of the key guys that kind of kicks us to start being more active on war, right? So does this kind of concern you a little bit as far as looking at the updates here? And the big ones that I'll just kind of jump into is like they're, how do you say, they're like debuffing some rooms. They're like putting the max health here
Nerf.
on
I think the word is nerf. I do believe they've
nerf. There you
nerfed
go.
the those rooms.
Yeah, I'll let you take away off of this. So you tell me, in summary, what do you think about the war update?
I think that it's going to lead to more full clears and more races to full clears because the defenses aren't going to be as tough anymore. Um, I think that it changes the importance of room because you notice the one room that didn't get changed there is Cargo Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So with Cargo Bay being the defensive room that didn't get changed, having characters at War Ready is even more important because they won't be getting any of those bonuses until they're War Ready, which shouldn't be a problem for in-game alliances, but that's going to be a bigger deal for mid-game alliances and mid-game players who don't have ridiculous amounts of green ions and green ISOs sitting around. Even the bridge, the bridge, it's all a huge nerf because the worst thing that they could get in the bridge was immunity. If they got immunity, we'd be screwed. And so they added offense up and defense up, but they took immunity away.
Yeah.
Like, so there's some of the RNG. Now, I read all of that. There's the nerfing of the rooms, and I was instantly brought back to watching Dorky Dad's Twitches where he does his war battles, and he is just raging about bridge fights against Dormhold teams at one point in time because Morgan Le Fay would spawn with immunity over and over again, and he'd be rolling attacks where he couldn't do anything but get wrecked. And so I get the rage point, but it feels like they've now nerfed it so that it's just going to be a walk in the park. You're just going to walk over it. There is no more. I mean, I get that there's no more RNG aspect of it, but there is still going to be the RNG aspect of is she going to resist or not, and things like that. So I'm not a huge fan of the updates to the rooms. I think they'll make my life easier as an attacker, as somebody that loves to do war attacks. But we'll have to see. I don't like to poop on one of my favorite game modes, so we'll just have to wait and see. We can't make a definitive answer on whether it's any good or not.
Yeah.
It'll be different, and different is fun. And the update to the rewards is what's really going to matter.
Exactly, man. Yeah, they're adding up all the T4s. As far as putting ions into the rewards and boosting up the gold that you earn. So that's kind of where really increase. So the increase is going to be into the gold and T4 abilities, and then they're throwing in splash of some T4 ions. Wanted to go ahead and jump onto this thing as we start wrapping things up. The silhouette. So this is always kind of a fun thing that happens within an alliance, right? When you start kind of talking to each other and everybody starts kind of guessing about who's going to be what on here. Now, I didn't really prep onto all the names here, but maybe you can remember. Basically, overall, what I'm hearing of the big rumors is that this is going to be another Spider-Man team.
Spider team. Another fucking spider team.
Well, that's what I wanted to know.
2022 is going to be the year of X-Men and spiders.
Because everything on here, right, is all basically this is the rumor's going to be, I forgot what her name was, but it's like
Madam
the
Web
female.
or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Madam Web, maybe.
Yeah, she's like the female Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The one over here to the left is that the 2099, the 2099 Spider?
I think so. Yeah.
And then this guy right here, do you remember what this one was?
Spider-Man Noir.
Noir?
Spider-Man Noir. Yeah, it's that one makes sense with the hat and everything like that.
Okay, and then this one is different, right? This is not.
Mr. Negative, I think, is what the rumor is.
Yeah, Mr. Negative. So, I mean, those are all what's coming through there. Something to be coming up on the next patch, right? Which will probably roll out mid-September, I would guess. The way things are going out. Yeah.
We've only got one more character this patch, so we're looking, yeah, mid-September, 2 weeks probably.
Yeah, because Braun is coming out as far as being, and one of the things I kind of overlook within the milestones, the monthly milestones for Abomination, is that Braun is going to be a milestone character released on those charts, so be ready for that. But otherwise, I don't have much more in the rumor size. I know we kind of went in depth about other stuff, so I'm gonna start wrapping it up here. So thank you guys onto the YouTube channel that caught us and catching us, and being kind of a frequent passerby. We appreciate it. And but till then, we'll keep chatting here onto the Twitch side of things, as I kind of want to kind of wrap things up with Darth off YouTube. So stick around for that. I hope you guys enjoy your week, and we'll catch y'all next Sunday or whenever it is that you view us on YouTube. Take it easy. Bye bye.